So, hello YouTube, we're back once again. It's another video, another expression of my opinions, which I of course feel comfortable making for all of you, my loyal fans and friends. And I'm loath to make this video in a way. Didn't really want to have to give this individual any attention, because it's clearly what this individual craves, what this individual wants, desires, and has pretty much based their entire life around obtaining. But I've got to mention it. I've just got to, set a few things straight, and I think, that's you're going to enjoy it. I'm pretty sure. So the video is about a chap called FODDER. That's his gamer name. He's a Counter-Strike player, a long-standing one. Certainly goes back to 1.6 and has been playing for a long time, and has been known for one thing and one thing alone, and that is being a cheater. Probably is one of the most high-profile cheaters to come out of North America. And everybody's known this for a long time, and he's denied it. Somehow has managed to build up a fan base for himself, which I don't understand. Although, I guess I can understand. I will explain the psychology of that nonsense in just a bit. But, finally, he has come forward and apologized, telling us what we all knew, and that is that he is a cheater, and he apologized for it on an hltv.org blog, the timing of which I can only presume means that he's trying to maybe get into a team now, or maybe there's been some pressure applied to stop his stream because it might be against the terms of service. I don't really know why he's decided to do this now, because it's been abundantly clear to anyone who understands anything about the game that he's cheating. But he's never admitted it up until this point. But then he, of course, this being FODDER, one of the most delusional individuals, and I don't even say this flippantly. I mean, this guy has full-blown delusions. I don't think you would need the requisite qualifications in psychiatry to be able to say fairly confidently this guy might want to get some therapy. Let's put it that way. He's always talked about himself in grandiose terms. He's always lied with the conviction of the sociopath. He's never been able to come clean, and even in this apology, he doesn't come clean. So I'm going to go through and sort of break down some parts of this apology and just saying why you shouldn't swallow this entirely whole. And I know people who check my channel certainly won't. But maybe you'll stumble across this and you'll be like, oh, well, we all make mistakes, we've all cheated. And indeed, many pros have cheated at one point in their lives, and they go on to have glittering careers. I've spoke to a lot of pros, and they said one of the ways that they used to learn the game was through cheating, wall hacking, etc. You can see what everyone's doing, helps you with pre-fire spots, helps you get kind of audio awareness of what's going on, because when you hear this sound, you can link it to something you can visually see through the wall, so you know that's where someone's going to be. And that's obviously no excuse for cheating, but certainly people have done it and have gone on to play well and play well clean. So and those players aren't comparable to FODDER, of course. FODDER is someone who has serially and habitually cheated his entire career, and I'm loath to even use that term because he hasn't had a career. This isn't a pro player. This isn't anyone who's achieved anything, despite if you were to look at it on the surface and just watch what he's capable of doing while using cheats, of course. he would easily be one of the best players to ever touch the game. So, in this apology, he says in part 1, I did not, and there's many parts, guys, to strap yourself in. He said, I did not cheat in league matches back in 1.6. Well, that's not true. That simply isn't true at all. There's footage of him doing it on YouTube. I'll show you a little bit of it now. Maybe I'll talk over it. I don't know how I'm going to edit the video yet. But he said that he was lumped in with a bad crowd, you know, and he was a young kid, and because I had like one good round in a match, and in the past, the argument would be he's in BM, a known cheating club, and because he was outspoken and immature, because he was just 15 years old, he was a target. Well, again, we can see from the footage here that this is almost certainly the use of a wall hack. Anyone who's followed 1.6 knows how the wall hacks work in 1.6, like I do, will tell you this is, again, a fairly conclusive compilation that somebody is walling. This isn't, oh, hey, we all have those rounds. This is someone habitually guessing where everybody is, lining up crosshairs perfectly, repeatedly, time and time again, not making any mistakes other than failing to land shots because he's a bad player at this juncture in his career. And I mean, that's about that, really. This would be more than enough back in the good old days of Counter-Strike to get you banned. I mean, the demo alone would do it, would be sufficient. So I mean, we can dismiss this one claim here, and this video has been verified by people who were in the Nothing to Prove team that yes, this is from their game. Yes, that is the real fodder. So any attempt to sort of distance himself and say, well, that isn't me in that video, would be absurd. So the other thing he brings up in point 1 is that he had a falling out with Hiko. And he said, I looked up to Hiko's former teammates, Pondfiller and Waymo, and my friend randomly made a team called SLP, which has the exact name as Hiko's team, SLP. The team was called Stacked Like Pringles. Hiko's team stood for Stacked Like Pancakes. And there was some misunderstandings between me and Hiko where I said I was on SLP, and while back then it was just a playful joke homage to Hiko and his teammates that I respected. I can see, looking back at it now, I can see why he got upset about it. So I'm sorry, Hiko, for the SLP thing. So let's talk about what actually happened there again. The SLP thing, the Stacked Like Pringles, Stacked Like Pancakes, this was basically, and a lot of players do this, a lot of cheaters in particular, again, we'll get into why they do this, they try and synthesize a pedigree. They try and create a fake status that simply that they can never have, because it would require them to go to several lands, play legit, achieve things, and get picked up by a better team. A path that he has never been willing to walk at any point in his life. So what a lot of cheaters would do is they would create team names that sound a lot like other teams, and they would then use that moving forward and say things like, oh, hey, we're, I used to play on this team, so you know I'm legit. And then people would be like, oh, you were in this team. And they go, yeah. And then they would be like, okay, well, you must play with this guy. I know this guy. And they go, oh, no, I was in the team at a different time when he wasn't there. And they try and obscure and obfuscate their own history. You know when someone is doing this quite purposefully, and the idea that you would create a team that was like, a homage but like had the same tag, that's not what happened. And from what I've been told, he was going around representing that he was on the famous SLP that had the good players. So this isn't a misunderstanding, this is, or an homage. This is just, again, the classic actions of a young kid, a young cheater, desperately trying to obtain some status and attention for himself. He then points out that he did go to a LAN in 2009 and was happy with how I did. It was the Gigabit Summer 2009 LAN. He presents the video in the blog and says, that, well, this is proof that I'm a legitimate player. Look at these crazy clips that I've got. And of course, in 1.6, it's very, everybody, by this point in 1.6 development, everybody knows the spam points. Everyone knows the common spam points. You can find videos of pros doing stuff like this. Yes, absolutely. What it shows is being well practiced at the game and putting in a lot of hours, which obviously this guy has, because it seems to be a huge part of his life, so much so he would cocoon himself away in just an absolute fabrication. And while this clip, yes, it happened at LAN, I mean, I also would go so far as to say cheating definitely isn't impossible at LAN. Certainly wasn't at this time. There were multiple LAN cheats that were floating around back at this moment in time. I wrote about them when we had them in Counter-Strike Source. Everybody can go and Google vent.exe. So the idea of LANs being this cheat-free environment, especially at the smaller ones, you don't have an admin stood over you while you're playing. You don't have anyone check your PCs. The only way that somebody would even get caught cheating would be the person you just beat would have to put in a cheating complaint, and you would have to allow an admin to check your computer to prove you're legitimate. And and that's just not good enough. That's not a hermetically sealed, cheat-free environment. I mean, the reality is, here in 2015, almost 2016, we're struggling to create a guaranteed cheat-free environment. We're having to do all of these crazy things because cheating, it's an arms war. Cheating, you're always reacting to the new cheats as they come out, and then the cheat technology changes, and then you react to that, and the people who are trying to stop cheats are always behind. So, but I'd totally be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt based on those clips, because I've seen multiple players do those kind of things. Those are the kind of shots that you would take. And the way 1.6 works is, obviously, you're going to be able to spam people through those walls and get those kills, and you're going to be able to do it quite consistently if you're a good player. I mean, if people line up and push a certain way and push fast and you get the timing right, you're probably going to kill someone through a wall. So I don't even see... But what you can't do is you can't equate what you're doing in 1.6, a game that by this point had been not played out, but certainly everybody knew, like certain key spam spots and everything else. It was very easy to find these things out. There was multiple videos and demos available where you could pick up on these things. Whereas CSGO, a much younger game, a much evolving game, and of course he's making completely different types of kill in CSGO. So then he said, just before CSGO, I got banned from ESEA for a long time, not for a cheating-related reason. The ban was put in place by Big under malicious activity after I had an argument with what constituted as baiting on T-side of Nuke prior to RWS when people still played for FPR. After the argument, I got banned for 30 or so years. Much like when down the road I tried apologising and I just got rebanned for 60 plus years. The account can be found here. So ESEA have never clarified what this ban was for, like, publicly. No one's ever made a statement about it. So this is one of these examples where, in the absence of transparency, you have to kind of fill in the gaps, and obviously you almost defer power to the person who's telling the lies because they can do it. Now I don't necessarily think ESEA should have to come out and make a statement about this. He's a nobody. He's not a pro player. He's not an important figure. But he's clearly not telling the full story, because if you look at the reason that's on his account, it says his ban was extended for ban evasion. Which points to the fact that he tried to get around the ban somehow. So I'm guessing he must have played on another account, or smurfed, or been a ringer, or something like that. So his version about it happening for an argument, again, what I do know is whenever an ESEA admin has kind of abused their power, it does blow up on the forums and it puts people's noses out of joint. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that happened, but I mean, it does seem incredibly unlikely that he had an argument with an admin over what is baiting and got a fucking 30-year ban. You just wouldn't do that. I mean, look, ESEA have been a disgusting and reprehensible company in the Counter-Strike space for like a long, long time. But mainly that all comes down to LP Kane. And he's not going to be there anymore. And ESEA, I guess, you know, without him there, do they deserve a clean slate, a fresh chance? Yeah, fine, whatever. But whenever there was any sort of admin abuse, it did used to get brought out publicly, and it did used to get dealt with. So, again, I got to say, given that this is a guy who has lied multiple times about cheating, is a cheater himself, while I don't want to poison the well and use that as a straw man, I'm not inclined to believe that version of events. Not at all. Then he talked about how, because of that, he would play the remainder of 1.6 lifespan in ESL with Euros, doing exceptionally well in their built-in matchmaking system. A movie of me playing on the ESL matchmaking server can be found here. I did not cheat, and therefore I received no cheating ban ever. Well, again, we can't say whether or not you cheated, because not getting a cheating ban isn't evidence that you didn't cheat. No anti-cheat is perfect, and certainly you could have cheated. But again, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here. I will certainly give you the benefit of the doubt for it, because it doesn't really matter. He goes, so CSGO comes out and I play the first year or so of it legit, meanwhile constantly trying to find out how I could get him banned from ESEA and be able to play and compete again, since in my opinion the ban was unjustified in its length, especially considering I would later go on to apologise several times just to get denied. This was around the time I was making guides and such. Then he brings up the Bitcoin scandal with ESEA. And he said, had I realised that a competitor service was a very long way off, perhaps I would have acted differently. It became more and more apparent Big would never ban me, which disallowed me from ever having the chance to compete in the game again. I mean, again, this isn't technically true. I mean, he seems to sort of almost conflate the idea of being allowed to pug in ESEA and play in ESEA invite and stuff. And yeah, it's huge in the North American scene, but I mean, there were other options. I mean, they're not great options, but there were still other leagues. And I would have perhaps recommended playing in them. So, you know, I don't really understand why he's placing so much importance on the pugging side of things. He's talking about Leapway and Alt Pug and all of this stuff. Seems a bit weird. But, you know, and I think that probably underlines just his mentality about the game in general, about how he's not really interested in the professional scene, not really interested in being in a team, just likes being this bizarre, controversial figure and an obvious cheater, and getting all this attention based around himself by just raging people in pugs. He goes on and says, I had to ask myself I was going to continue in the game. I was banned for essentially a lifetime from the only league in NA that was relevant. Apologising didn't seem to work. It wasn't even for cheating. I mean, he's just repeating himself at this point. He brings up the 1.6 thing again. And then he says, I started to make frag movies like I did for 1.6, except this time I made the mistake of constantly using hacks. I mean, this is a great way to phrase it, isn't it? This is someone who takes no responsibility for their actions. This is someone who has a disturbance of some sort. Because, yes, it's a mistake in the sense that you have made an error of judgment, but it's not like, whoopsie, I just installed some hacks and I'm making all these sick frags and putting them on YouTube. How did I do that? What a mistake, you know? So it's not a mistake. It's in that sense. It's a conscious choice to deceive people. It's a conscious choice to use cheats, to beat people, to garner attention, and to be able to draw fans and views to your YouTube channel. And he said, I would cheat a few matchmaking games just to get footage faster and try to pump out regular content. Are all of my videos cheated? No. Are most of them cheated? No. And a lot of videos you'd swear are cheating actually aren't. I made the mistake of cheating just for the sake of consistency and getting the clips out more regularly to try to keep videos coming out for my YouTube channel. Let's be real here. There's a huge glaring hole in the argument, and I'm sure you can all see it. So he says he was struggling for the sake of consistency, and that's why he had to use cheats, because he needed to consistently pump out content for his YouTube channel. Yet he also says most of the videos aren't cheated. So that says to me, if most of the videos didn't require cheats, most being the majority, and if the majority of the time you were playing to that standard, that would lead me to believe that was your consistent level, i.e. consistency, then that would mean you didn't need to use the cheats in the first place, based on your own argument and your own statements in that argument. Again, this is somebody that's so fucked up and deluded they can't even keep the logical reasons for why they did it straight in their own apology. You didn't do it for consistency purposes, because if that was the case, you were consistently making frags that looked like they were cheated, so there was no need for you to cheat. That's your own argument. I'm using your own argument against your logic here. So, it's gibberish. And to say that, are most of them cheated? Well, I guess we'll never know. But all the ones that now look like bullshit, I think it's safe to assume that they are bullshit. Keep in mind, I am somebody who has followed 1.6 pros, Counter-Strike Source pros, CSGO pros. I've seen streamers who never go pro. I've seen players that were always on the periphery of the scene. And I've been heavily involved in reporting about and experimenting with and talking to people in the cheating scene and the cheating scene in general. So, and I've been an admin in several leagues. So I feel pretty confident in my own ability to judge when something is bullshit. And certainly I look at a lot of FODDER's clips and I think it's fairly obvious. You know, when you see pro players, some of the most skilled players ever in the world, playing like matchmaking and mixes, pugs, scrims, whatever you want to call them, and they can run around and they're playing YOLO, and they can go a whole game and not do the things FODDER does round after round after round after round, you have to ask why that is. You have to ask why that is. And common sense dictates either, there's two stances to take here. Either FODDER is better than all of them, okay, which there's no evidence to bear that out, and if he was, I don't understand why you wouldn't trade in on that, or he's cheating, and he's admitted to cheating, so I think we can choose option B. I feel comfortable with option B. I don't think it's a witch hunt at this point. He then says, I realise now that the decision I made was horribly wrong, even considering the fact that the entire reason I started was related to my lifetime ESEA ban, which was not related to cheating. And again, we just deflect. If ESEA hadn't banned me for unknown reasons, and I'm going to say unknown because your story sounds like shit, FODDER, if I hadn't been banned, I would never have cheated. Well, A, we've already seen footage of you cheating in 1.6, so what was your excuse back then? And B, you cannot blame ESEA for your decision to consistently cheat and deceive people in CSGO. You cannot put it on their doorstep. It is your choice and your choice alone. He then, and this is the other classic that cheaters do. He said, if I had not been banned from ESEA or so for many years for CSGO, I would have had something to strive for rather than just perpetual matchmaking games and making highlight videos. What would that be, by the way? You've never made any serious efforts to be in a professional team. You've never played in a team that was ever likely to LAN or trouble anyone at a big LAN. So what would that be? This is the most you could ever hope for, and you've achieved it through hacking. Congratulations. And he says, I know a lot of you will see it as an excuse, but I can tell you, as can Postman, a good friend of mine who played in the ESL with me back in 1.6, that had I never been banned from ESEA, I would never go down his path. Now, this is the classic cheating thing I'm talking about. They always invoke friends. He does it again later in the apology, because if you think this is where it ends, which is where it should end, no, he's going to repeat himself and repeat his lies and repeat his delusion a few more times. But, you know, you invoke the friend. Hey, look at this trustworthy guy. He'll vouch for me. And, of course, people come out and always go, I know him, he'd never cheat. You don't know shit. You don't know shit about people. You don't know what goes on behind the eyes. You don't know what the fuck's going on in people's mind. No one can vouch for fucking anybody. That's why every time there's some fucking crazy fucking cannibal killer, the neighbours are being interviewed on the news. Oh, he was such a quiet man. Yeah. Wouldn't hurt a fly, right? He just cut up and fucking ate 13 people. So, I mean, people don't know shit. And when you invoke a friend, it's just like this, like almost like an appeal to authority. Like, oh, look, hey, do you think this guy's lying as well? Do you think he's stupid at my level? He's a cool guy. Whenever cheaters do this, it's just like nauseating, and cheaters fucking do it all the time, you know. And that's the key thing here. I like, you know, if at this point he owned up and just said, yeah, I've been trolling all your asses for fucking God knows how long, I respect that actually at that point. You finally fucking fessed up to it all. But no, instead, he tries to frame it and lie about it, and this guy will tell you, and 90% of the time I wasn't cheating, even when I clearly was cheating. It's ridiculous. He does offer an apology, and again, fucking strap yourselves in for this. I'm talking, like, Clockwork Orange shit, right? Because you're gonna go fucking spare here, like. However, I'm still incredibly sorry for what I did. I know that I'll never be allowed to play in a Valve Major. You were never gonna play in a Valve Major. You were never going to play in a Valve Major. Never, never. You were never, I mean, I don't know how many times I've said it. Never, never. You were never gonna play in a Valve fucking Major. How fucking deluded are you? Like, you were never gonna play in a Valve Major. It was never gonna happen. Never. First of all, the assumption that you could go to a LAN and be legitimate to the degree you are online, which would be the only reason why anyone would even consider having you in a team, okay, it's not going to happen because you're a cheater. It's not possible for you. You haven't got the practice. You need to go back to basics. You need to get into like some small shit team now and go to a dozen LANs and have one breakout performance, and then yeah, this community's a little bit naive. They'd probably forgive you for it. But you've got no evidence whatsoever you would ever be good enough, and as a result, you wouldn't get picked up by a team. Second of all, no one wants to play with you anyway because your reputation precedes you. You're clearly unfucking stable. No one wants to play with you. None of the top players. I've never met a top player who goes, yeah, that Fodder's a great guy. I'd love to get him in a team. You know, and there's been other dubious fucking players that people have made exceptions for in the past, especially in North America. Players that did have, you know, questionable history and were doing things questionably online that they couldn't replicate online, and people gave them the benefit of the doubt. You ain't that, brother. You ain't that by a long chalk. All you have is your negative reputation. That's it. You have nothing else. So, yes, newsflash, you were never going to play in a Valve Major. Whether you fucking confessed or not, you were never going to do it. The fact that you even think you could shows how fucking, you need to fucking get some fresh air, my friend. Simple as that. Then he goes, as for the manual VAC ban scenario, as far as I understand, it actually was manual. Overwatch bans do not turn into VAC bans ever. Untrusted bans do. Make no mistake, I did eventually begin to cheat on my main account, but I have no idea what game I got Overwatch for. So again, this is more obfuscation, right? Because he's been Overwatch banned, but he has been VAC banned. And as you'll see from this tweet, he's been VAC banned, and it's been confirmed by the CSGO devs that it was a VAC ban. It wasn't manual. Nobody pushed a button. Your cheats were fucking detected. End of story. End of story. So this isn't a vendetta. This isn't someone at Valve having enough and pressing a button. This is the standard VAC ban. This is the Valve anti-cheat system and how it works, and it caught your cheat eventually. I'm not going to go into, maybe you were a special case. Maybe they did pay extra special attention to you because you wouldn't fucking just shut up and cheat quietly. Like you were always talking about how fucking clean you were, protesting your Overwatch ban, protesting all of this shit when you were blatant as a motherfucker. So yeah, you goaded Valve. I mean, they probably did use some, you know, they probably asked around. I don't even know how it fucking works. They keep it so clandestine and quiet that all I know is that it is a scan, it scans your fucking system, and they do a deferred and delayed ban. So maybe they were like asking around what kind of cheat you're using. You obviously use private cheats. You've obviously been very clever up until this point about the types of cheats you use down the years. But at the end of the day, this is a VAC fucking ban. It's not up for argument. It's not up for appeal. And you can try and make it look like it was some sort of, oh, I got Overwatched, and Valve were just like, fuck that guy, and pressed the button. You got VAC'd. You got VAC'd for cheating. End of story. You say here, I'm never going to cheat again. And I'm more than willing to help any leagues or lands with anti-cheat endeavours in the future. Brilliant. Why not, right? Why not? Why not say that? Because there's nothing to lose. This is an empty fucking statement. When you say things like, I'm never going to cheat again, I mean, shit, man. Husbands say that to their wives, and they just go out and fucking dog them again, don't they? It's all about that second chance. It's all about that fucking redemption. But the point is, and this is just human nature in general, once you cross that fucking threshold, it's very easy to cross it again. A switch is flipped. I'm not saying once a cheater, always a cheater. That's retarded. But once a cheater and a serial liar, and a habitual liar and cheater, it's very hard to believe, and you would understand why nobody would believe you if you were to say, well, I'm never going to do that again, when you've been doing it consistently for years. And even if you say you haven't been cheating for years, you've definitely been lying for years. It will be years as of January. So, cool guy. He said, the reason I'm never going to cheat again, this is unfucking real, the reason I'm never going to cheat again is because of this, and he links to a Luminosity Gaming video. He says, LG inspired me. They moved from home to live in another continent full-time to pursue CS, and to see it pay off for them really touched me, and I couldn't be happier for them. What the fuck? Why are Luminosity Gaming the team that fucking inspired you not to cheat again? There's been so many teams that have done this. What the fuck are you talking about? There were players that were doing this in 1.6. There were fucking players that were doing this in CGS. What the fuck are you talking about? So, just like, oh, but I just love them, and maybe if I appeal to the Brazilian fanboys who are super passionate and get them on side, maybe I will always win the forum arguments. Come the fuck on, man. It's just a lot of transparent pandering at this point. I know I've burnt bridges. I know the community feels about second chances. And then he invokes Steel and Swag. I know Valve will never remove my VAC ban, but I'm not here to seek second chances. You kind of are. That's exactly what you're doing. I came here to simply be honest. You haven't been. And inform you all you will never have to worry about cheating again from me. And again, well, obviously we have to worry about it. That's like, again, imagine if you were a fucking sex offender and you were like, look, alright, I diddled all them kids, but you've definitely got nothing to worry about again. Can I have a job as a caretaker in a school, please? Obviously, no one's going to assume you're going to do it again, but you ain't getting the caretaker's job, ever. You're never going near that school. Dream the fuck on. You talk about Face It, and obviously Face It have a policy where if you've ever been vaxxed, which you have, you can't play a Face It. So you can say you didn't cheat in Face It, it's irrelevant to your Face It ban. It's not part of some fucking persecution. Face It, what they do is they enforce a consistent value system that everybody knows, everyone is transparent about, right? And you've had a VAC ban in CSGO, so you're not going to play in Face It anymore. That's that. That's how it works for everybody. You'll never be allowed in FPL, absolutely not, because of your cheating past and your VAC ban history, to even try and invoke it as if, like, wouldn't it be cool if? And nobody wants to fucking play with you or against you. You need to start waking up to that fact. You are as close to a pariah as I've seen come out of North America. And that's fucking saying something, given some of the assholes that scene has produced. Like, I'm talking about fucking egotists, narcissists, loudmouth assholes. And some of them, great people, actually. They're the qualities I most admire about them, because they're entertaining. But you are a pariah to the vast majority of the North American scene. So, and then in 2016, I plan on making a team for SIVO. Oh, what a surprise! We're back on the redemption trail. So you're going to make a team for SIVO, and if it does well, I'm going to potentially plan on attending the Fragadelphia LAN if we are unable to qualify for the SIVO LAN finals. I've gotten a lot of death threats, but I'll be attending anyway, so long as Sasquatch doesn't change his mind and ban me my team from the LAN before attending, as has happened at previous CSGO LANs. He says this happened at the Tampa Bay Esports LAN. Again, I'm not even going to check that. Probably, as you were told, you can't play. I mean, you have to understand how it works in the Danish scene. If you get caught cheating to the level you have, or if you get caught doing anything that's crossing an antisocial threshold, the LAN communities all talk to each other, and you get banned from LANs. You get banned from the LAN circuit because all the owners all know each other. A lot of the admins are the same people. So this isn't abnormal. And then you say, I love CS far too much to ever cheat again, hence why I never cheated in all of these other matches, and that you would never cheat against a team. Well, again, I don't want to break it down, you know, cheating in mixes, sure, experimenting with cheats, sure, cheating to rage somebody, sure, I can kind of see all of this stuff, but what you've done is you've habitually cheated to obtain false status. Habitually cheat to obtain false status. That's what you've done. You've done it repeatedly. You've done it to get YouTube hits. You've done it to get attention. You've done it to get status. You've done it to profit ultimately. And this is the thing. There's two kinds of cheater. There's two kinds of cheater, and this is the psychology of the cheater, and this is why it's worth mentioning. To you guys. Obviously I've interviewed a lot of cheaters. I've written a lot about people who've been caught, people who've got away with it. You know, and the one thing is very clear and obvious. Every cheater that I've ever come across in this type of scenario is doing it for status, and that's the thing. You've got the one guy who just doesn't give a fuck. He's going to buy an account, he's going to cheat on it, it's going to get banned, he's going to buy another, he's going to cheat on it, he's going to get banned, and he's going to keep doing that repeatedly, over and over and over again. Why? Because the ego part of it doesn't matter. He enjoys cheating, he enjoys the game being in easy mode, he enjoys making people angry, he enjoys trash talking, you know, it's a form of catharsis, and ragging on the people that he's wrecking with his cheats. These people do not care. They'll never inject themselves into the scene, professional or otherwise, so their cheating will matter and that there can never be any penalty beyond banning their account. Then you've got the other kind of cheater, the fodder type, who is just so desperate for attention, so desperate for status, so desperate to be valued, so desperate to be treated as if he's a pro, despite having never fucking been anywhere near the level required to be a pro. These people are the ones that I guess are the most loathsome, but also the most pitiful. Because these people live a fucking lie every goddamn day. They wake up, they have to go on their private cheats, see if a new client's been installed. They live in constant fear of VAC being updated or someone leaking it. They're constantly harassing the coder friend who gave it to them. Is there an update? Do I need to worry? And then, of course, they're really proudly representing their skill set, their abilities, and saying, hey, I'm legit, bro. I'm legit, bro. People should give me a chance, man. I'm legit. And of course you're not legit. You're not legit. And then people who do give you the benefit of the doubt, they say go to LAN. Go to LAN. And you're too scared to go to LAN because you know you won't be able to replicate your level of performance, and everyone will call you an onliner, and your reputation will be permanently tarnished. You will be a LAN dodger. So what do? You go to small LAN, shit LANs. It's a diet version of the competitive experience, and you say, hey, I went to that LAN. Why didn't you go to the big ones? Why didn't you go to the ones where there was real competition? I couldn't get a team together. Couldn't get on a team. Couldn't go that weekend. You had to mow the lawn. You know, all these bullshit fucking excuses. That, like, the one thing you want most in the world is that fucking acceptance, and you can never step up and get it because you don't have the skills to do it. You have not got the ability to be what you want to be, and it must be fucking torturous. It's no wonder it's better to live in this deluded little fucking bubble that you exist in. Now, just to end this video, you know, because obviously I've gone on way too long. The thing that I want to say is, why would someone like this achieve fans? And what I'm actually going to do at the end is I'm going to play you a video. This was called the Bust video. I believe it was uploaded by NetX. I'm going to play some clips from it here at the end, so you can just see how obvious this guy is, by the way, in CSGO. And the voice that's talking through it, it's Fodder reviewing his own demo. So just listen to the lies that he says. But just the final thought is, why would anybody support a guy like this? An obvious cheater, an obvious liar, somebody who's completely rewritten history to suit himself, somebody who's never going to make an impact on the pro scene whatsoever. Well, there's two fucking reasons. The first reason is quite obvious, that I think a lot of people that love Counter-Strike, they come into it pretty naive. They love the idea of anyone who's good. Yeah, we can fucking... I just respect that. Just respect that guy. Give that guy the benefit of the doubt because he's doing things that I can't do, and I totally respect that. Right? And that's fine, but you're ignorant if you're that guy. The others, though, there's this little thing deep inside everyone's brain, which is like, what if I was amazing and people thought I was cheating because nobody knows me? So what you do is you project yourself, your own little fucking subconscious desires on the cheater, and you come out and defend them, thinking, well, hey, what if one day I get good and people call me a cheater? I'd want people to defend me. Or even worse, what if one day I decide to cheat? I'd want to get away with it. So let's all defend this guy. So the people that do this are just fucking enablers. You like literally deserve to have a guy take your fucking money and laugh in your face because you're doing it for fucking intellectually dishonest reasons. You don't believe fodder's fucking legitimate. You're not stupid, but here's the thing. You're willing to perpetuate that lie for your own benefits somewhere down the road, even if you never have to trade in on it, even if you never cash in on it. And I've seen it time and time again. I remember... we even had it recently with the vacuuming. People were coming out and saying, nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with that, look, that's completely legitimate. I do that all the time. Then those motherfuckers got vac banned. And where were those people then? Looking like fucking idiots. So, to the CS scene, never be afraid to call bullshit if you think someone's bullshit. Never be afraid. That shows you give a fuck about the game way more than any of these little fucking cuckolded assholes who live in the thrall of cheaters who just fucking use them, manipulate them for fucking status for their own personal gain. It's way more honest. And yeah, you might be wrong, and you might have to hold your hands up, and you might have to apologise, but I much prefer that option to a bunch of people coming out and defending a obvious and blatant cheater just on the small fraction of a chance he's actually legitimate. It makes way more sense my way around. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching this video. Enjoy some of Fodder's greatest hits. See ya.
I see that guy throw the flash from that way, and then I die. That's why I wide peek him there. Holding a lower angle after smoking mid, pushing, falling back after the pick, holding this angle. Somebody called that they're lower. My teammate's helping me to my right, as you can see. He just died. He called he's coming. Still holding mid. These guys aren't even shooting at me. He's watching B, so all I have to watch is lower. My teammate dies at lower. He calls that he's at lower, and now I'm just waiting for him to come. He just threw a flash. I know he's there. And he walk peeks into a basic op shot. Okay. So I know that I legged him. I know there's a smoke there, so I go for a chance knife kill. I knife him, and then I die like an idiot because there was a guy waiting for me to push through the smoke. And yes, I saw me leg him before the smoke went off. Okay, guy coming up cat. I hear him running. I hear the second guy running. And I just shoot through the smoke because they're running in a straight line. Get the trade frag. Alright, so I worked my way out mid after doing the pop flashes. I'm checking scaffold, checking window. He's there. I pre-fire that angle every single game. Every single time I go out mid to B when I smoke that, I pre-fire that spot and I pre-fire the big box angle. That's just me picking somebody mid. Let's see. You guys can hopefully see this. Wait, what was this? I don't remember what this was. Oh no, I was pre-firing in between the gap of double stack box. He was double stack box. That's probably like the only good shot I made this entire game.